Welcome to episode 30 of Life is Horror. This will be the Eli Roth / Thanksgiving episode. And if everything goes according to plan, this should be uploaded on Thanksgiving night. So happy Thanksgiving. We're going to talk about Eli Roth's new movie, Thanksgiving. And I'm going to discuss a Thanksgiving horror film from the 90s I just discovered for the first time and really liked it, and that's The Boneyard. And then I'm going to talk about a couple of other slasher films, That's a Wrap and Candyland, all from 2023 except for The Boneyard. And then I'll rank Eli Roth's filmography, horror and non horror, all together. He's directed 8 films that I saw. And also, I'm going to do a quiz, Eli Roth quiz. There's a Eli Roth quiz in this book, so I figured why not do that for this episode. All right, so I think I should start with the reviews first. So let's start with That's a Wrap. All right, so not many people have heard of this one. This is very lesser known. Like, it's only got a couple hundred people that have seen it on Letterboxd. And let me pull up here. Does it tell you here? Yeah, 202 people. That's it. Wow. So 202 people have seen That's a Wrap. Directed by Marcel Walls. And the plot synopsis is a film cast arrives at a wrap party, but someone has dressed up as the slasher in the movie and begins to stage their own kill scenes. One by one, the cast disappears until the true nature of the evening is revealed. All right, so this is a modern giallo, very much so, with a heavy amount of meta humor in it. It's very much like Scream, um, like it's got some really cheesy dialogue, and it's very self-aware. And I'm not too crazy about that. I'm kind of getting worn out with all this self-aware shit. I hate that every slasher nowadays has to be self-aware, except for the one I'm going to be talking about later, Thanksgiving. It seems like every movie nowadays feels like the characters have to acknowledge that they're in a horror movie. And I'm getting kind of sick of it. And this is another one of those movies that you can just tell they're having a little too much fun with the dialogue. The characters are basically, I mean, in the movie, they're in a horror movie within the movie. So this is like Scream 3. It's so self aware. And you got an Adam Green cameo and a Scott Barnes joke, which you would only get if you've seen Hatchet 1 and Victor Crowley. So that's like a very like inside joke for Hatchet fans. It's very gorgeous looking. The cinematography, it looks like it's trying to be like an Argento film. It's like trying to be Suspiria. I like that aspect of it. I like the look of this movie. There's also a Tom Savini cameo. And the look of the killer seems a bit familiar, kind of like Francesca from like 10 years ago, um, or Bloody Ballet. Um, both movies I recommend. They're good, like throwback gialli or whatever. So if you like movies like this, check out Bloody Ballet or Francesca. Uh, yeah, the mask is just like a black face mask, so it wasn't really creepy looking. The gore is all right. But the editing during the kills was too stylized with like white flashes and like it would repeat shots like over again, like instant replay or something. I didn't like that. There's a psycho shower kill with a beautiful naked lady who shows everything. So you get some nudity, and it turns black and white during the shower kill. So yeah, they're very much trying to make it look like the psycho shower kill. It even turns black and white during that kill scene. And then the music also, the music starts to slowly morph into like Bernard Herrmann esque music during that scene. It's like it couldn't be more like on the nose, like directly ripping off Psycho. Blood shoots out of a slit throat like a fire hydrant, like a geyser. So the blood, it's over the top. There's a lot of dialogue. A lot of dialogue is written to like foreshadow each character's death, which isn't really anything new, but I kind of liked it. It's it's not the only movie that's done this. Like the characters will say something, and then whatever that is, like that's how they're gonna die later on. They say something like, "I'd rather get my eyeball scooped out," and then the killer hears that, and then at the end of the movie, that character gets their eyeball scooped out. So there's a lot of that going on in this. So just pay attention to the dialogue, and you'll know how every single one of them is gonna die. The whole movie is at this small film studio for small budget films, and the party that they're throwing to celebrate this film that's wrapped is pretty lame looking. It does not look like a fun party. One character constantly spells cuss words instead of just saying them. Sounds like something my sister would do. My younger sister, she doesn't like to cuss, so that seems like something she would do. She'd spell it out. Um, One character, no, the reveal seemed like a cheat, and again, like Scream, 100% the killer reveal. The one killer I suspected right away, it was too obvious. I liked how it ended though. The film score is hit and miss. I like the killer's theme, the music theme for the killer when they're on screen. But I heard some stock suspense music, like very like stock sound that you've heard in a lot of low budget films. So some things that aren't original here. Um, and yeah, if the meta humor and corny dialogue was toned down and the pacing was a bit tighter, this could have been a lot better. I like the kills. I like the style of the cinematography. I like what they're trying to do here, but it was just a little too much, a little too screamy for me. Not a big Scream franchise fan. So yeah, if this is your kind of movie, if you like movies like I said earlier, like Francesca, you like Suspiria, stuff like that, and you like Scream, you like that meta shit, then check this movie out. The acting's not great, so don't expect anything good from these unknown actors. There's nobody I recognized in this movie, so yeah. Anything else? Yeah, I think that's about it. So 3 out of 5. That's a wrap, and that's a wrap on this review. Now, I want to talk about this movie real quick. The Boneyard. Holy shit. So, what was this? Was this Tubi or Prime? It was on Prime? Yeah, I think it was on Prime. This movie was a surprise. Um, I was not expecting much from this movie, but it was fascinating, to say the least. And I found it interesting. It's a weird coincidence that this movie is set around Thanksgiving. I did not click on this movie because I knew it was Thanksgiving. It just so happened to line up that way, so it was kind of funny. And then I watched Rocky Horror Picture Show, unfortunately. Just I feel like that's something that I need to watch as a horror fan because everyone talks about that movie. It's so highly rated. So that's the only reason why I watched it. But watched it in quotes because I was not paying attention at all. I was on my phone half the time. I just could not get into it. I fucking hated it. But that movie takes place in November also. So it's just back to back. Like every movie I was watching took place in November or around Thanksgiving, and I didn't do it on purpose. So it's weird. So yeah, The Boneyard from 1991. Children turned into zombies wreak havoc in a coroner's building with just a burned out psychic, an experienced cop, and two coroners to stop the madness. All right, so like I said, it's set around Thanksgiving. The first act sets a great autumnal autumn atmosphere. Like there's constantly like leaves falling in every shot, so it just sets the mood. I really like that. And this it's a slow burn at first. The whole first like 30 minutes is quite slow. Not a whole lot going on except for like one dream sequence, which was pretty creepy. And this has some of the most terrifying, scary looking children zombies I've ever seen in any movie. The look of these people was quite frightening. Um, and they're on screen a decent amount. I like it especially when they're like in the shadows and like the one part where she's like the zombie child's like creeping around the corner with the doll that's like missing an eye and there's blood on it. Like that doll looked pretty creepy. Like it was pretty terrifying looking. So very effective makeup on these zombie kids. Acting and the directing's pretty weak, amateurish. It's not very well directed, well shot, or like the acting's not good. Nobody in here is recognizable. A very unconventional casting for your lead, like heroine. The main character of this movie is this like middle-aged, very overweight psychic who helps police detectives solve cases, kind of like the Dead Zone, but you just wouldn't usually see that kind of person playing the main hero. Usually, that kind of person you would see like playing a teacher or someone's mom, but she's like the hero. She like at the end becomes a badass, and she's grabbing a pipe bomb and and like climbing the air, going through the air vents and shit like she's freaking McLean. So that was just crazy. The casting of this main character, I just wasn't expecting that. It's like this is the main character. Interesting. Um, we got giant zombies. This movie got crazier and crazier than I was expecting. Like it starts off small with just a few zombie children, and then before you know it, there's like big zombies with big bug eyes, and it's almost like something you would see in like Peter Jackson's Dead Alive. Uh, but not that gory. There's not a whole lot of gore in this. There's some gory aftermath stuff. Could have been more kills, too many survivors. The score of the film I liked overall, it's pretty good, and but the sound design was pretty bad at times, quite laughable. In one moment in particular, when he's like driving that forklift into the glass door, like the sound that just kept repeating, it sounded nothing like what was happening in that scene. So yeah, that could have been better. And one of the characters in this movie is a woman who was brought into the morgue who attempted suicide. She electrocuted herself with a blow dryer in the bathtub. They bring her in dead, but then like as soon as they start the autopsy, she like wakes up. It's like, whoa, is she a zombie? But no, she's never like a zombie by the end. It's just that she somehow, did not successfully kill herself, and they somehow did not realize that she was alive before they brought her there. So it was just very bizarre. And the the storyline with like why there's zombies, how they're reanimated, all that stuff. I had a hard time following that story, the whole Chin storyline. Um, you know, not Chin as in Chin, like there's an Asian guy named Chin who owns the morgue, and I think he's the one that's responsible somehow. I didn't really understand any of that. So fill me in if you've seen this movie. Like, what exactly was going on with the zombies in this? I don't know what the hell brought them back. There's like some flashback sequences to like some kind of ritual, so I guess that caused it. I don't know. So I wasn't really following the story that well. It was a little confusing. I didn't really know what the hell was going on. But then all of a sudden there were zombies and they looked pretty damn cool, so I didn't care why they were there. I just liked how they looked. So yeah, that's all I gotta say about this. Highly recommend it. It was a blast. 4 out of 5 for the Boneyard. So moving on to the next movie. So, all right, Candyland. This is on Prime also. This came out way earlier this year, I think. And I gotta find it. Unfortunately, I don't have it pulled up here, so I'm just gonna keep talking. It's about hookers, right? Yeah, it's called Candyland for some reason, but it's about a bunch of prostitutes at like a truck stop. All right, here it is. All right, so Remy, a seemingly naive and devout young woman, finds herself cast out from her religious cult. With no place to turn, she immerses herself into the underground world of truck stop sex workers. And under the watchful eye of their matriarch and an enigmatic local lawman, Remy navigates between her strained belief system and the code to find her true calling in life. So, yeah, it's a cult slasher set in 1996 that starts off strong, but slowly gets a little worse and worse and repetitive in the second half. They reveal who's doing the killing like less than halfway through. It kind of starts off like a mystery. The way the first kill or two is done, you don't know who's doing it, but then they quickly show you who it is. So it's no spoiler when it's no spoiler to say who the killer is. It's the main cult lady, and it's pretty obvious. Like you suspect her right away, and then 5 minutes later, they're like, "Yeah, it's her. She's killing." And so yeah, it's not really a mystery to this. The killer's motive is pretty generic and boring. It's religious reasons for killing these prostitutes. They're sinners. They must be punished. I gotta kill them to cleanse them and save their souls by stabbing them with my crucifix knife, which has been done before also in slashers. I'm trying to think which one did it. I think it was Splatter University that had the same exact weapon. So even the weapon in this movie is nothing original. The score was terrific, and the acting was pretty great. I liked the characters, the prostitute characters. I liked their chemistry, the camaraderie between them. How they're very nice to this new girl, and show her the ropes and teach her all the rules and the do's and don'ts and everything, and all that was interesting. And but like I said, the second half it just got repetitive. Every kill's the same. It's like watching the Scream movies. They're all just getting stabbed in the stomach with the crucifix knife. There's a really disturbingly just gross scene with a priest who's one of their loyal customers having sex with this new prostitute. What was her name? Remy. Yeah, where he's like going down on her, but he has false teeth and he takes them out, so he's just got his gums all over her. Ugh, just nasty. Every single John Sadie. What does that mean? I don't know. Every single John Sadie has. Oh, John. Is that what they call the customers? So like every single customer Sadie, who I guess is the main character. I thought her name was Remy. I wrote Sadie. I don't fucking know. But every John that she has ends up dead, and no one suspects her. Like there's so many bodies dropping, and nobody suspects the new girl who just left this religious cult. It's like really, and how fucking weird she acts, and like you wouldn't suspect her. Like these murders started as soon as she joined your team. Like connect the dots, people. Come on. So yeah, none of the characters put up a fight in this. Every time she's attacking one of them, it's like they just submit. Like what? I guess it's over. Kill me, and that always bugs me. It's like come on, like you would fight everyone. It's your instinct to survive. There's no intense fighting or chase sequences. It's all very quick. The death scenes just like as soon as they realize that she's the killer, they're basically dead within seconds. Like, oh shit, was you? Oh. And so the ending is a basic like cult movie ending. It's like Jonestown, you know, and yeah. So this movie was all right. Like filmmaking wise, the look of it, the acting, the characters. Besides the killer, really liked them. So that kind of boosted my rating for it up, but not high enough. It's a 3 out of 5 for me. I kind of liked it. It was an okay movie, but that second half just didn't really do it for me. It started so strong. I was like, yes, this could be something. And then in the second half, I was like, oh, fuck, no. It's falling off the rails for me. All right, so last movie is the one I just saw, opening night. So a week ago from when this is uploaded, is Eli Roth's Thanksgiving, the movie we've been waiting 16 years to get. And so, yeah, written, directed by Eli Roth. After a Black Friday riot ends in tragedy, a mysterious Thanksgiving inspired killer terrorizes Plymouth, Massachusetts, the birthplace of the holiday, picking off residents one by one. What begins as random revenge killings are soon revealed to be part of a larger, sinister holiday plan. Alrighty, so I really enjoyed this movie. It did not disappoint. This is definitely top 10 worthy of the year for me. It's definitely the best slasher we've got this year, but that's not saying too much because how many slashers have we got this year? I mean, I did just talk about a couple, but I don't know, not a whole lot has come out this year. But yeah, this is up there, probably the best slasher of the year for me. And so yeah, Eli Roth finally not only makes a slasher film, which I'm shocked he hasn't already, being the slasher fan that he is, and he's 8 movies in now. He's finally made a slasher film, but it's a love letter to like 80s and 90s slashers, but also finally he's taken the Grindhouse trailer, the fake trailer, and made it a reality. It's a real movie now. Took 16 years, but here it is. Well worth the wait. It's also about damn time we got a Thanksgiving slasher movie that's actually great. And we haven't had one since the 80s with like Blood Rage. Like, what have we seen since? Those shitty Thanksgiving movies? Like, that's garbage. Like, those movies were made for like probably $5. Like, they look terrible. They're not funny. I'm not a big fan of them, clearly. But it's like, how did it take this long to get a Thanksgiving slasher? Every holiday was taken except for like Thanksgiving. The title, like even the title, like why did it take so long to get Thanksgiving? We got Halloween, we got all kinds of horror movies with Christmas in the title. We haven't had anything Thanksgiving, just Thanksgiving, which, like I said, those are terrible. It's like finally we got a bigger budget, professionally made, theatrical Thanksgiving slasher. And thank you, Eli. Thank you. So yeah, he makes the whole movie feel like the holiday season and brilliantly places the story in Plymouth, Massachusetts with a pilgrim costumed killer wearing a John Carver mask, wielding an axe, and puts some other Thanksgiving themed weapons to good use. You know, a electric carver for the turkey carver, an oven, all kinds of stuff like a thermometer thing or whatever. Like it's pretty Thanksgiving themed, his kills and what he's doing. Like a meat tenderizer, all kinds of stuff, and the things that you use to like hold corn. And so, yeah, it's pretty funny too. It's got Eli Roth's, his humor. It's not cabin fever humor. It's not quite that over the top, but you can tell you're watching an Eli Roth film with this because it's got his dark sense of humor in it. Um, and but also suspense. This movie I thought did a really good job balancing horror and comedy. It's got its laughs, but it's not at the expense of the horror. And it's not self-aware. It's not Scream with the dialogue. No one's ever like saying anything like this feels like we're in that one movie. Oh my gosh, this remind you of I Know What You Did Last Summer? Like none of that crap. Thank you. I'm like I said earlier, kind of sick of the meta stuff. And we got practical effects that look amazing. The kills are gory, a little creative. Well, the first one I will say, outside of the opening accident stuff, the first kill, I'm not sure how the hell that happened, if that's even possible, but whatever. It looked pretty good. Um, yeah, and the kill scenes, they take their time. It's not like the killer pops up and it's over. It's not like a quick jump scare, big stingers, music to scare you more. Nothing cheap like that. The scares mostly work, and they actually take time to build suspense. The killer's there, and the character's just slowly walking around the apartment or walking around the diner, and something's about to happen. You're just waiting for it and waiting. And so yeah, I really appreciate that they actually took the time to build suspense rather than just cut to the chase too quickly. Um, and I dug the score for the film overall. The score parts of it kind of sounded like an egg timer, like it was like that timer sound, something was about to go off. I don't know, it just kind of had that kind of sound to it. But yeah, it was good. Like even just during the opening logos, because there's like five of them in every movie you watch, but just the music playing over the opening logos, puts you in the horror mood. And you're like, all right, this sounds scary. I like this. It makes looking at those logos less boring when you got that music playing over it. And I mean, this movie has homages to so many movies. I mean, from the beginning, from the opening shot, you're instantly like, oh, I know this movie. I know where this came from. And all kinds of movies. I won't say which ones in case you consider that a spoiler, but whatever. There's plenty of them. Even the way this movie ends, which I don't like, the very, very end scene, what they do, it's tropey. It's on purpose, more than likely. I see, the homage there, this type of ending. It's clearly on purpose, but I don't like it. I don't like the end scene. I kind of like rolled my eyes at it, like, really, you're doing that, Eli? Come on. There is some logic issues, like plot conveniences. It's one of those movies, but every slasher seems to be like this, where it's like the killer, especially when you find out like who it is and you think back, you're like, okay, how was this person here, there, and doing this and getting away with this, and like this lined up perfectly, the timing, like there's so many characters about to like leave town and like the killer will pop up at the perfect window to like get them before they can escape. Like he never misses his window of opportunity. It's like, really, if he arrived like a minute late, that person would have been gone. And it's just like convenience after convenience. And when there's only a couple, you can kind of forgive it, but when there's so many on top of each other, you're like, all right, this is getting a little ridiculous. But that's true for a lot of slasher movies and horror movies. You always have that issue. There's always some logic issues with slashers and plot conveniences, where the killer is, being able to just drag bodies in and out of buildings in broad daylight. Like, how is this person transporting these bodies from this location to that location, not getting noticed by anybody. Like, give me a break. And you even get some homages to the trailer, the fake trailer. So some things from that trailer do get recreated in this movie, which I like. One of them not recreated 100% like the trailer, which is a bit of a nitpick for me. Um, and that one kill scene from that trailer that we see in this movie, the way it was shot and edited together, I had a really hard time seeing what was happening during that kill. Anybody else take issue with that? Anybody else have that issue like me? I just could not tell what was happening to that person exactly. It was the only kill that I felt like the editing could have been better. Now, in terms of like the whodunits, because this is a whodunit, like a Scream movie, like a lot of slashers, they create some red herrings. Not every character is a red herring, but they do have a few of them. And I thought, I won't say the movie was super predictable, but I will say that I don't think anyone's going to be too surprised by who the killer is or what their motive is. Like I found myself alternating between three characters and even thinking at times that there could be two because of what I said about how, okay, how's the killer here and then the killer's there, and so I was like, maybe there's two of them. But yeah, like once you look back, you're like, okay, yeah, there's some issues there, but yeah, I found myself alternating between three of them, and when you find out who the killer is, I wasn't really surprised. But the movie did a good job keeping me guessing, though. Like I said, between I was like, okay, maybe it's this person. No, maybe these people. They do like the My Bloody Valentine love triangle thing. So you got the two boyfriends, the ex-boyfriend who left and now he's back a year later, very much like Axel or TJ in My Bloody Valentine. So I'm guessing that's where Eli took that from. He saw My Bloody Valentine. He's like, I'll do that. I'll have a love triangle here also. Both boyfriends will be the red herrings. Um, so yeah, there's definitely potential for a sequel by the end of this. I feel like they could make more. There's potential there for one. I hope we get it, but if I had a bet, I would say it's unlikely we will get one. Even though this movie does make its money back, I'm not sure if they'll make another one and where to go exactly from here. Um, yeah, the opening Black Friday sequence was pretty intense and also funny. Some dark humor there, and not it's a little over the top, but sadly, it's not that much of a stretch from reality. Like if you look up Black Friday videos, there are people really just trampling over each other. It's ridiculous. Like I looked it up. It said like 40 people or so like have died since like the early 2000s or something. So yeah, just because of Black Friday, like Walmart workers have been trampled to death. It's crazy. I've only been Black Friday shopping once, and that was like almost 12, 13 years ago. I haven't gone since. I don't really give a shit. I'll do my shopping online. So yeah. Also, I will say there's too many survivors in this movie. I won't say how many. That would be a spoiler, but yeah, that to me is like Scream. There's too many survivors. For a movie that says there will be no leftovers, there's some leftovers. There's a little too many leftovers. I was surprised that some of the people that lived did. It's like, why? Like, why did that person make it? I don't know. And that's the other thing. The characters in this movie, I don't like them and I don't hate them either. They're just kind of there. It's like, all right, they're just there to be killed or just to be a red herring. And outside of that, I didn't really give a shit about them. They weren't really all that fleshed out, except for maybe the main character. It mainly just focuses on the main character, her relationship with her dad and her stepmom. And I like what they did with the dad. They kind of gave him an arc. He had there was a nice moment between the dad, Mr. Wright, and his daughter. But yeah, outside of that, I didn't really care much about the other characters. I don't even know their names. So yeah, that's all I'll say about this movie. Just the ending could have been better. The last act, for a moment there, I thought it was going to get even more better. I thought, there was potential there to be, the amazing slasher, like top three of the year or something. But then the last like 5 minutes or so, it just kind of started to turn into Scream a bit with how many survivors and then the motive speech and all that shit. Like, I don't know. I just don't care for that stuff. But still, everything up to that point was excellent. So I gave this one a 4 out of 5 also. That was great. Could have been better if the last act wasn't as messy as it was. So, yep, that's all I gotta say for that. Thanksgiving, what you guys think about this movie? Let me know in the comments below. And now let's start the Eli Roth ranking. So, number 8 is Knock Knock. Fuck this movie. It's the only movie I hate. I absolutely hate this movie. I don't even want to talk about it. So, next up is The House with the Clock in Its Walls. This is his fantasy, family friendly movie that he did back in like 2018. I saw it in the theaters back when I first started my channel and I was trying to watch everything and review everything. I haven't seen it since, so that's why it's all the way down here at the bottom. I don't remember much about it. I remember my rating I gave it, but I don't remember why I gave it that rating. So it's down here at number 7. Number 6 is The Green Inferno. I've seen this one a couple of times. This is another one with a disappointing ending. That's my biggest gripe with it. That and some of the acting. It's got great gore. I like that these activists are getting butchered and like they're the kind of characters that you just want to see die because they're just so fucking annoying. Like trying to control everybody and they're just the protesters and I don't know. Like just I hate these kinds of people. Like I don't like them. So I liked seeing them get butchered. And the one chick, she like has that moment where she has like diarrhea and then she breaks the bowl and slits her own throat. Like that's something that you would do in that situation. If you saw everyone getting eaten, you would be like, "How do I get out of this?" And that would be me probably in that situation. Like I'm gonna kill myself. So yeah, more Eli Roth dark humor, shit like that. And number 5, Death Wish, the remake of Death Wish with Bruce Willis. I don't think I reviewed this movie, but I like it. I've seen all of the Death Wish movies. I'm not sure if where I would rank this one in that series, but I thought it was good. A lot of people shit on it, and I feel like it's just because it's Eli Roth and it's a remake. But I think it's a good revenge action thriller that gets a little over the top at times with like that one gun commercial, and he's got that gun. You like hit this thing, and it just bounces out. Like again, it's got more of that humor that it's Eli Roth, and it's just very corny at times, but not too corny. So yeah, Death Wish, I'm a fan of it. It's been a while since I've seen it though. I need to watch it again. Hostel Part 2. And Hostel 1 and 2 I've seen a handful of times. I've only seen Part 3 once, and I know that's like the one everyone hates. I don't remember why everyone hates it. It's been so long since I've seen it, but the first two, I think what I like about this one is they instead of they kind of switch things up, and instead of like the guys, it's now like these girls, and it's and she's got like all this money, and she by the end is like the one in charge. Like I like that. I like what they did with the main character in this movie, and I thought this one was much more different stylistically than Part 1. Part 1 was more like nasty, gritty. It was just disgusting to look at, like the scenery, like the place where they were torturing people. And this one, it looks more stylish and fancy, like the bathtub scene, all the candles, the Elizabeth Bathory scene where she's like bathing in the chick's blood. Like it looks more stylish than Part 1, and has more of that dark humor, like the kids like playing soccer with the severed head. There's some great moments in this for sure, but I just don't think it's as like scary and effective as Part 1, which is my next movie. Hostel is my number 3. Much more gritty. I like the main character, and that when you first watch this movie, you don't really know who the main character is. You got these two friends, and you kind of think the one dude's going to be the lead, but then he dies like midway through, and then it becomes about the other guy. And then the whole like climax of the movie is him like escaping, and it's very intense. It's cathartic. He's getting revenge, and he dunks that fucker's head in a toilet, cuts his fingers off. Like that was awesome, and he runs down those kids. I mean, not the kids. He runs down those people in front of the kids. That was awesome. Lots of nudity, lots and lots of it. And yeah, just an interesting premise. It's different. It's people paying to torture other people. And this is the movie that I believe spawned the whole torture porn, that title, like that genre. This is where that got coined. This movie, some critic called it torture porn, and now that's been the label for a lot of movies, unfortunately, even if they're not torture porn. Like people call Saw torture porn. The first one is not even gory or that. There's not even that much torture in it. I hate that label. It's so stupid. Torture porn. Ugh. Number 2 is Thanksgiving. I already talked about it, so I don't need to say anything else. You already know all my thoughts on it. But number 1, Cabin Fever. This is the one I love. Easily my favorite Eli Roth movie. The humor in this one just works 100% for me. It's not PC at all, and it's just very hilarious. Like when the guy says, he's like, I'm going hunting for squirrels. And then the guy's like, why? And then he replies back, because they're gay. Like that kind of shit just cracks me up. and and then the whole thing with the guy who runs the store and they ask him what the gun's for and what he says. And then that payoff at the end, the way the movie ends, that joke has a tremendous payoff at the end. And the pancake scene, I even have a shirt that says pancakes on it. So I love the movie. I love that random shit. Like that's clearly something that Eli Roth took from like pieces where there's just this random scene where there's like this kung fu master that jumps out of nowhere to attack the main character, and you're like, what the fuck is going on? Why is this happening? It makes no sense. It's so out of left field. And that's exactly how it feels when watching this pancake scene. You're like, what the hell is going on? And there's some pretty effective gory moments. The leg shaving scene, the woman with the missing like lips, and you just see her teeth exposed. It's a flesh-eating virus movie. In case you didn't know, haven't been given the plot synopsis for these movies, but it's a flesh-eating virus movie, but it's done in a comedic way, but also has some good scary moments. Like it would be terrifying to have this happen to you. And this movie has a great funny ending with like the one character returning back to the cabin and what happens when he returns. Won't spoil it, but it was pretty funny. And the one guy's like, all right, go get the kit. And then he grabs this box and we never find out what the hell is inside of it. I think that's pretty funny. Like they make a big deal about it. Like, all right, go get the kit. Like it's going to be some super helpful plot device, but it doesn't do shit. They never open it. So yeah, just a very fun movie. I love it. I think it's underrated. So that's my number 1. So I guess let's end this with a Eli Roth quiz. And there's 20 questions. I'll ask the questions, you answer. I will not. So here we go. If you've been paying attention to my reviews or things I was saying about these movies, you might know some of these answers now. Like for instance, question 1: what is the name of the fake movie Eli Roth made a short trailer for, which is featured in the 2007 movie Grindhouse? Question 2: which movie was Eli Roth's directorial debut? Question 3: which Hollywood star played Evan Weber in Roth's 2015 film Knock Knock? Question 4: what is the name of the film written within a film that Roth directed for Quentin Tarantino's Inglourious Basterds? Question 5: what is the name of Justin, aka Grimm's dog in Cabin Fever? And Grimm was played by Eli Roth. Question 6: how many sequels, not including the remake, are there to Cabin Fever? And question 7: which found footage possession movie did Eli Roth co-produce in 2010, which just so happens to be my favorite found footage movie? And question 8: which horror movie did Roth not have a small acting role in? Piranha 3D, Scream 4, Hatchet 2, or Citizen Toxic Avenger Part 4? Question 9: which filmmaking hero of Roth's appears in Hostel 2 as the Italian cannibal? Question 10: a sequel to The Green Inferno was announced in 2013 called Beyond the Green... Next page. Beyond the Green Inferno, true or false? Question 11: which country do the characters in Hostel travel to after hearing about the hostel filled with beautiful women? Question 12: Which movie, written, produced, and starring Roth, features the poster tagline, "The only thing more terrifying than Mother Nature is human nature"? Question 13. Which movie did Eli Roth show to the real Peruvian tribe featured in The Green Inferno? Was it Cabin Fever, The Wizard of Oz, or Cannibal Holocaust? Question 14. Which martial arts action movie did Roth co-produce and co-write in 2012? 15. What are the gang of violent street children called in Hostel 2? Question 16. In which horror movie did Roth reprise his role of Justin from Cabin Fever? Question 17. What is the name of the evil clown played by Eli Roth in the 2014 movie Clown, which technically didn't get a wide release until 2016, but whatever. Question 18. Which longtime friend and colleague of Sam Raimi directed Hostel Part 3? Question 19. Which remake of a 70s Charles Bronson movie did Roth direct in 2017? And final question. Which big-budget monster movie was Eli Roth attached to in 2015 before leaving the project over creative differences in 2016? I feel like I knew at least half of those, maybe a dozen or so. Not that last one. I never knew about that one. But yeah. So there you go. Episode 30 done. Let me know your thoughts on Eli Roth's movies. What's your favorite? Did you like Thanksgiving? Let me know in the comments below. And so yeah, happy Thanksgiving, everybody, and adios.